What's up everybody, Legit here. Today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys about the node manager. What is it? How to get to it? What's the rewards for it? And then I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks about it. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time to my channel, make sure you check out the description down below for some additional badass Black Desert Mobile content. You won't be disappointed. With that being said, let's dive right in. There's two ways to get to your node manager. The first way is through your camp. You can get to the node through your camp by going to the trading post. The second way is by going to the overview tab, and on the far left under arena over there you see node. You can actually click on that to get to the node. So this is the pre-selection screen. You're going to see this before you actually go to your node manager mode itself. There's two things you want to focus on here. The first one on the left, this is where you can select the workers. At the top, it tells you how many workers you can have out of how many you have selected. So for example, I have 10 out of 10. At the bottom, you can auto select workers, and you can remove workers if you don't want a worker on the node anymore through that option there. On the right, it gives you the node manager. It does tell you how many nodes you can have with how many workers are on each node, how many total workers are on the site, how many are physically working at the moment, how many completed tasks you have done at the moment, and then how many nodes are depleted, as well as accidents on the road and unfortunates on the road. So you can see which tasks you have to do before you actually go in there. If you click on the magnifying glass on the top right, you can actually go to the node manager level effects. As you level up your node manager, you get different bonuses, whether it's how many workers you have on the node, the rewards, or your node limit. So my current level is level 18. In order for me to get onto another node, I have to get to level 26. In order for me to add 12 workers, I have to get to level 24, and then the right one is reward percentages. So if you're starting off at level 1, you have to get to level 3 to have 4 workers on nodes and 7 total workers, etc., etc. So this is the pre-selection screen. Once you have everything pre-selected that you want, you hit the start button on the bottom right. The first thing you're going to do in node manager mode is put your workers to work. By doing that, you're going to have empty nodes. In order to put a worker on a node, you're going to want to select the node that you want. In order for you to get the farther out nodes, they do have to be linked together. So it can't be just an empty one out there in the middle of nowhere. So you do have to link them up in order to get a node. They do start off, if you notice, it says 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots, and then 4 dots in the top up there. So you do have to have 1 connected, 2 connected, 3 connected, 4 connected in order to get those. In order to put a worker on a node, you select one of the nodes you want, and it tells you what you get from that node. All nodes give the same amount, 534 silver every 30 minutes. It does store 25,632 silver. What changes with the nodes is the rewards at the bottom. So it's transcribed skill books and Shaka 2 coins. Nothing too crazy. If you want to put a member on that node, you actually can hit the occupy node button at the bottom down there, and you can actually select the worker that you want to put on that node. It does require food. That food consumption does go down based off of the worker's vitality. So then you can send the worker to that node, and it occupies that node. Now that I have a worker on that node, now I can then start to collect the resources on that node. You can't collect the resources on that node until you have a worker on that node. I actually don't want that node. That was just for an example. If you want to remove a worker from that node, you can go back to that node, click on the worker icon on the top, hit remove the selected worker, and then hit confirm. So that's how you add a worker to a node. Typically the best rewards are the farthest ones out. For example, Kron Castle is giving you a 10 novice to master skill book chest, which is purple, as opposed to Docks of Valia, which is given a white novice skill book chest. So the further out you can get, the better. So the only way to get to Kron Castle is by connecting all those. We were actually connected down to Serindia Gates so we could get some extra stuff down there. It just depends on what you want to farm. The great thing about the node manager is that it gives you various different rewards depending on what you want. If you want to farm boss stamps, you can do that. If you want to farm ancient rune tabs, you can do that. If you want to farm silver, strictly silver, you can do that. Ancient coins, black stones, whatever the case may be, you can do that depending on what you want. If you notice on the right, there is quests. These quests are node manager specific. You won't see these quests outside of the node manager. If you notice, I have one of them is solve one problem. The other one is put a worker on a node. I did do that so we can collect that reward. Once your workers are done collecting the resources on the node, so for this example, this one's done collecting ancient rune tabs and boss stamps. Once it's done collecting those, you do want to go over and claim those because your workers aren't doing anything. So those workers are then going to go back home, and I now have 2 workers to put back out on nodes to farm again. After you've depleted a node of its resources, it has a chance to spawn a secret node. A secret node is going to look like this empty tent right here. If you look at this empty tent, this secret node gave me 19 ancient tablets. It did take 1 hour and 30 minutes to get those 19 tablets. That is really good. It doesn't always spawn these. You do have to complete the resources in that node in order to get a chance to open up the secret node. So we can claim that. Got my 8. Oh, pro tip, second pro tip. Now, if you notice there, I got 38 ancient rune tabs instead of the 19 that it said. And the reason for that is dexterity workers. Dexterity workers have a chance to double the rewards of whatever node or resource they're working on. So for nodes, you want dexterity workers. The higher the dexterity, the higher the chances of doubling the rewards. So if you get a secret node like I just got there, not only do you want to get it, but you also want to make sure that you put a dexterity worker on that node. There is also sometimes these little hands on the ground. These hands do sometimes give you poor black stones or some gifts that you can give to your workers or to Amity for rewards. There is also sometimes some crashes on the roads or accidents. You just got to solve little puzzles. If you don't solve those puzzles, you can't collect or continue on the node path. So you want to make sure you do solve those puzzles. They're really simple and you do get rewards. There is also the opportunity to get black pearls as a reward and supply for some of the nodes. You do have to get to the farther out nodes. I do want to note, if you look right here, this tells you how many workers you need in order to do that. So if I wanted to collect the black pearls, I would actually need 3 workers. And it actually tells you how many black pearls are left. So I could get 3 black pearls if I send 3 workers out to that node. And it says it's going to take 1 black pearl every 8 hours for having 3 people on that node. Next thing we're going to talk about is fame. What is fame and how to increase fame? Fame is what you get when you occupy a node. Every time you occupy a node, it increases the fame. As you increase your fame, you can increase your rewards. So if you click on a node, any node's fine, you can click on the node and you can actually see what that gives for rewards by clicking this little icon right here. And you can scroll up. Once you get to 500 fame, that's the rewards you get. Every node offers different rewards. Like I said, the closer it is, the lower the rewards, the further away, the better the rewards. So you want to focus on getting your fame up. The only way to get your fame up is by occupying nodes. So just continue to occupy nodes. As you do that, your fame will go up. I will note that if you take your workers off of nodes, your fame can go back down after 3 days. So if you're really working on getting that fame up, I strongly recommend not removing all your workers to go put them, in your farm to do whatever else. I'd strongly recommend continue to increase your fame. The last 2 buttons we'll talk about is the bottom left. The first one is the total tab. This is very similar to the pre-selection screen. This just tells you how many workers you have, how many workers I have waiting to be put to work. I can retrieve them all or withdraw them all from right there. The second one is the overview tab, which is very similar to the pre-selection screen as well. And you can see everything that you have, workers on site, completed tasks, everything there also. So that's everything with the node manager. The pro tips I have for you is get nodes out as far as possible first so you can maximize your rewards. The second one is make sure you're putting dexterity workers in your node manager so you have a chance to double the rewards for whatever you're trying to farm. And lastly, make sure you farm whatever you need at that moment. If you need boss stamps, farm boss stamps. If you need black pearls, farm black pearls. If you're asking me would I farm these black pearls, you're telling me it's going to take 24 hours to get 3 black pearls. I'm not going to farm that. Typically with the node manager, what I do is I check it twice a day. Every time I check it, I go in and I collect the silver. I make sure I collect any tasks if anybody's done with their tasks. I try to pick up my freebies. I'll fix the road if the road's broken, and then I'll redispatch my workers out. Sometimes you're going to get special secret nodes that'll show up in different areas, and you'll have to completely pull back all of your workers and reposition your workers to maybe like up there at Crossroads so you can pick up something up there, or Kron Castle. So sometimes you do have to rotate your workers to be able to get the rewards better. But typically I'm getting about 30 boss stamps. I really try to farm boss stamps and ancient rune tabs. So you can also farm these silver collect coins here, but they only sell for 10,000 silver. If you can get boss stamps, it's going to be much more worth it. Typically, I'm getting about 30 boss stamps, 30 ancient rune tabs a day. It really varies, but that's typically what I try to farm. I hope I covered everything on Node Manager. There's a lot to go over, a lot of information. That's just the basics. That's what I do with Node Manager. I hope that helps you guys out. And with that being said, I will see you next time.